from the Figure 4 Online Studios in beautiful Bothell, Washington, exclusively at WrestlingObserver.com. You're listening to the Bryan and Vinny Show with your hosts, Brian Alvarez and Big Vinny V.
Man, Cliff ain't messing around tonight.
Tony, that's your kid? That's
One
far and away the coolest person in this family.
How many are in this? Is this just him? Wow,
dude,
impressive.
Why are we doing a show? Let's just listen to this for an hour.
Well, it's not an hour long, geek.
That's a good reason.
Hey, it's the Bryan and Vinny Show, March 1, 2018, figure4online.com/wrestlingobserver.com. Future star Cliff Leader and his guitar playing some blues.
Did I mention he's the coolest person in the family?
Get out of here, Vinny. All right, we got a lot to talk about here today. Granny is going to be joining us here on the show. Got a lot to talk about with Granny. She had a story she wrote last week about defeating the evil flu.
That's right.
Made a comeback. She's been down the last couple of days. But feeling better, she says. I'm going to talk to her about that and whatever's on her Facebook. Her weekly wrestling report. And then tonight, we've got NXT from... Where are they now? Are they still center stage?
Still Full Sail, yeah. Or, center stage, yes.
I think they're still at center stage. And then after that, it is, in fact, War Games 1992, which last week, Vinny, you asked, why did we watch this again? Don't think you asked that this week. This was a great, great match.
It was.
Yeah.
Not in the last week's was bad. It was very good, too. It just seemed kind of random. But I guess that is the point of Thursday Potpourri.
Yeah, what the hell do you think this is? A bunch of random shit that we watch.
I don't have an answer to any of this.
Okay, exactly. All right, well, stand by. We'll get Granny here, and then we'll get going. Stand by. Well, Granny's back, everybody. How you doing, Granny?
I'm doing just fine.
Yeah, you wrote a story last week about the evil flu, and then the evil flu made a comeback. Is that right? It struck you down?
Yeah, it struck me instead of you.
That's right. What happened? You were so confident last week.
Oh, I'd just rather not go into it. I'm fine.
So, you had a headache and anything else? Just kind of came and went?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Man, why do you not want to talk about your illness, Granny? It's killing your gimmick of beating the flu?
Well, because I've been going through this flu thing for weeks, and it just,
Maybe you don't have the flu.
That's what I'm saying. It could be just stress or whatever, but...
Sure.
I know I'll be okay, so I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, man, Granny's very, very defensive about the flu here.
There's one thing that's Brian good at. It's moving on when his subject wants to talk about anything else.
I mean, we've only been talking about it on Facebook for days now, Granny.
I know.
Now you're going to clam up about it?
That's why I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Vinny knows exactly how I am. We're like a married couple. He understands.
Other names I won't name, but they've had this experience as well.
Who? Name one. Craig? Well, yeah.
Someone who...
I mean, anybody else?
Some host who may be working at other sites right now.
Who's that? Oh, no, give me a break. What else is going on, Granny?
We're going to have to just continue questions from last week.
Oh, great.
Well...
You said you had something special here tonight.
That's at the end of the show.
Oh, man.
She's saying that.
I got another one of those.
You wrote another story?
It's about you this week, and next week it's going to be Vinny.
Granny's determined to...
That next week's story is going to be...
Kill this gimmick.
That's a challenge.
All right, well, get going, Vinny. Now you got to find where we were after I told you not to bother.
I have gone through and sorted all these questions, and half of them I know we have read before and half we have not. I shall do my best to not repeat myself.
Mm-hmm.
I X'd out some that I thought that we had.
Well, you didn't X them all out. That explains it then. That's why, however I mix it, some are old and some are new, because you didn't get all of them. That actually makes me feel better.
Okay.
All right, Eric Gustafsson wants to know, I am a classical musician, and I'll be honest, most of my audiences fall squarely in your age bracket.
88-year-olds?
Yes. Do you have any experiences attending classical music concerts in your life, or are there any pieces or composers you've heard over the years that have stuck with you?
Oh, wow, that's a good one. I can't Can't think of any.
That was definitely a good one then.
Yeah, I can't think of any.
Okay.
So the best questions.
Good question, Eric.
You don't have an answer for.
Sorry about that.
It's not Eric's fault.
Of all the things to not Google.
Did that one. RJ Zeeler, we've had this before, but what the heck? Where is the farthest you've traveled to, and what did you enjoy doing there, or hate doing there?
Mexico, right, Granny?
Oh, in Mexico, it was such a short trip. I couldn't decide if I liked it or not. I suppose my trips to Laughlin and Vegas and all those, I did that for so many years, that'd be my favorite. Mm-hmm. But I can't think of anything special we did besides staying away from too much gambling.
You stayed away from too much gambling?
Mm-hmm.
Well, she still got a house, so apparently she did.
I guess.
Yep.
Patty Stote says, do you have a motto you live by? If you don't, what might be a good one for you?
Oh, just live a clean life. And
not too much gambling.
Do the best you can.
Live a clean life and do the best you can. That's not bad advice. You hear that, Vinny? Live a clean life and do the best you can.
How do you know I'm not?
I'm just bringing it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm... What would you possibly be doing?
I don't know. Matthew Durnley wants to know, what's your favorite song, color, and alcoholic drink?
Whoa. Song.
Roll out the barrel.
I guess it'd have to
Suspicious
be there.
Minds.
That's Suspicious Minds.
Oh, that's right. That's another one. Yeah, there's a couple of them.
Color, I don't know.
You should have mentioned that with the classical music.
I must say my mind's not working too well tonight. Anyway, and the color...
Okay.
Color, I'd have to probably say... Oh...
It's a very weighty matter.
Purple or something like that.
Purple or something like that. Okay. And your favorite alcoholic drink?
I used to drink a lot of gin.
She sure did.
Not even a cocktail, just straight up.
What's wrong with your brain tonight, Granny? Just tired? After sleeping all day?
I slept all day, and just, you know how it is. It's just kind of more forgetful than usual.
Mm. This is close to the other question, but Steve Rice wants to know, what is the first and last concert you ever attended?
I don't think I've ever gone to a concert.
Have you ever go see, like, Cliff and Carlos do songs?
Well, I went to see Clifford in a... Oh, maybe I could call that a concert.
Hey, you want to hear one of Cliff's songs?
Okay.
All right. Here, stand by. You'll like this.
It's right up your alley, Granny.
Here we go.
That's your great-grandson.
Yeah, that's Cliff.
Please tell me you're banging your head right now.
Yeah, what are you doing right now, Granny? I think she may have thrown down the headphones.
Or she's blacked out.
Hey, you there?
That was nice. That was nice. little loud, but it was nice.
I shouldn't have told her who it was.
Why?
You
Nice.
would have buried that song if you didn't know it was Cliff.
I suppose I would have.
At least she's honest.
I was just waiting for more of, you know.
Oh yeah,
All
okay.
right,
Hey, I
some
got
more.
another one for you.
No, wait a minute. I mean more music than
Noise.
boing boing.
Then
Yeah.
what?
More music than the boing boing.
The boing boing.
Yeah.
Hey, I got another one. Here's a different one. Maybe this has more music. Hey, how about that one?
That's much better.
Yeah, that kind of sounds like Suspicious Minds. He's pretty good, isn't he?
Oh, I like that.
We'll have to get you a CD, Granny. Or maybe a tape.
This is gin drinking music.
It is. Do you have any gin, Granny?
No.
I was thinking you could drink a little gin while we listen to that, like Vinny suggested.
I don't
Clean
have
living
any
fella.
That was nice, though.
John Cronshaw says, I recently got a new guide dog. Do you have any funny dog stories?
Do you remember that one time that we actually were so in a rush to get the show started that we called Granny, and then we played the music to start the show, and she started screaming, "Turn that crap off!"
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Just want to bring that to everybody's attention. Go ahead, Granny. Your favorite kind of dog? Is that the question?
Favorite funny dog stories.
Oh.
I don't have. Oh, all I know is that we had 2 dogs on the farm, and one of them would grab the horse's tail and swing back and forth and ride on the tail.
That qualifies. That is a funny dog story.
That's about the only
How
one
big
I
was
know.
this dog? How big was the horse?
Well, we had a big German Shepherd that was called Puppy, and we had a little
course.
black and white dog. I don't know what type he was, but he was the small one, and he was called King.
King.
Kane.
King for the little one and Puppy for the big one.
What a name for a dog. Puppy.
Yeah. Well, that's what Nikki's dog's name
I
is.
know. That was a joke, Granny.
Oh, okay.
All right, go ahead.
Roddy Bear. Oh, is that the end?
Go ahead.
Okay. He wants to know, do you rate the Philadelphia Story as a movie on the Granny scale?
I was going to look that up because I don't know what the Philadelphia Story is.
It came out in 1940. It starred Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant. Appears to be a classic romantic comedy.
Oh, she was only 11. She wasn't watching the Philadelphia. She ain't that old.
Oh, if I was 11, I never saw it.
Okay. Josh Warren, any advice for a former wrestling country singer struggling with alcoholism?
Go to rehab.
She makes it sound so simple.
Former wrestling. Is he talking about Jarrett?
It may be, actually. Probably may be the joke. I don't know.
Well, Granny had the right advice then.
Yeah.
Go to rehab, dude. Then you'll get in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Sure.
Yep.
Alistair Hamilton. I love the way he words this. Granny, I just missed my train. What's the most interesting train ride you've ever had?
I've only had 2 train rides in my life, and one of them was from Hamilton, Montana to Seattle. And then I took a trip with a friend of mine up to Canada, and that train must have went... it was so slow, it was like going 5 miles an hour all the way up.
That's awfully
It's like driving
slow.
around Bothell lately.
Yeah, it's pretty slow, but that's only 2.
Hey, how long did it take to build a damn street? Anybody know?
Yeah, can you imagine how...
This fucking Main Street Bothell, it's been like 7 months. Right?
Yeah, and they don't have any parking.
Oh, don't even get into the parking, Granny.
Oh,
First
that's-
off, they said this stupid street was going to be done in November. What is it now? March?
Not November.
Yeah. Then they said February. Now it's March, okay? Now, not only is Main Street closed, our school is on Main Street?
Yes.
Okay. So there's like another way in, but now they've turned that into a fucking one-way.
Mm-hmm.
And they put up those giant red lights, and so everybody has to wait, and then these guys go. And then everybody has to wait, and these guys go. And there is no fucking Main Street, so everybody has to go on this road. It's a nightmare. How long does it take to build one street?
And Brian, it was bad parking before.
It was
Now it's
horrible.
gonna be- now it's going to be worse.
I don't even think there is going to be parking. From what it looks like now, there's going to be a bunch of trees.
Yeah.
It's like
on
a
Ma-
scenic byway now.
on Main Street. They're going to plant trees in those dumb boxes.
Those
that they
dumb
built.
boxes. Ridiculous. I'm sweating like crazy right now.
Luigi Tyrone wants to know, has there been a point where you wanted to quit the show?
Don't even say it, Vinny.
Many times.
It was like weekly.
I say several times a week. We all think it, I'm sure. Patrick McGuire, were you ever a hippie and take part in any radical sit-ins or been arrested?
She'd have been in like her 50s.
Well, I had a warrant out for my arrest once.
Excuse me?
What?
I already told that story.
Tell it again.
I vaguely recall this now.
Well, when we had our company and a lot of stuff was going on, and just so happened that my ex and I had the same attorney, which is crazy. But anyway, we were supposed to do something up at the courthouse, and he said, "Oh no, you don't have to go." And so the day of the court meeting, he drives in the driveway and says, "Are you ready to go?" And by the time we got up there, we were so late that they had a warrant out for my arrest.
Holy smokes, Granny.
Yeah,
Good thing you showed up.
I know. Wouldn't that have been fun?
Somehow, having a warrant out for your arrest sounds worse than just being under arrest. Having a warrant out sounds like you're on the run.
Well, yeah.
You're a escapee.
Well, maybe that's what they thought I was doing.
Well, you didn't show up, so yeah, they probably did think that.
Yeah, and then the other one was when I picketed City Hall.
So you were part of a sit-in.
Yeah, really.
Yeah,
Well,
I remember this, actually, because of your sewer, right?
Yeah, and
I still have that Woodinville Weekly.
They were trying to get me out of there, but they couldn't because I was on the sidewalk, so they couldn't get rid of me.
Very clever.
I knew the law.
Wow.
Anyway, that's that.
Mr. Williams wants to know pancakes or waffles.
Pancakes.
Well, that was easy. John Pincus wants to know if you're excited for baseball.
No, I haven't been into baseball for quite some time because I don't get it on my TV. And but way back when Griffey was in there, boy, I was right into it. I just really loved it.
Granny's underwater, right? Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah. But I don't get it, so I don't watch it.
Brian,
Tony torrenting something over there? Is that what's going on?
Huh?
Never mind.
I'm not doing anything.
Brian Quinlan wants to know, what shape do you think the Earth is?
Ew.
Man, that's a good question.
I think I'd have to say round.
You think so, huh? Evidence suggests
It's not an octagon?
I don't know.
You don't know.
What do you guys think?
pretty sure it's round.
It's round, Granny. Have you ever seen an eclipse?
An eclipse?
An eclipse, Granny.
A
solar eclipse or a lunar eclipse?
I don't
Mitsubishi
remember.
eclipse. All right.
One more.
Another question, if any of us has ever thought about quitting the show. There's a trend going on. Had a bunch of these already. Brett A. Lynch wants to know, well, okay, two. Mike Spenlove, who is the best guitar player in the family? Cliff. Next.
Clifford.
Brett Lynch, what is
Tony
the
is
best
so appalled.
sandwich you've ever had?
Oh, gee. Wendy's, of course.
Wendy's.
Yeah, what a stupid... Let's finish on a stupid one. Okay.
Okay.
Let's do the wrestling report now.
Oh, boy. Okay,
Oh, boy is right.
She's thinking about quitting right now.
First of all, I watched a doubles mixed match.
A doubles mixed match.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
With Zane, Cyne, and Becky, and Alicia, is it? And Strowman.
Alexa?
Alexa.
I guess it was. Anyway, they got out on the ring, and the girls did most of the wrestling because Strowman was so afraid. Oh, no, Zane was so afraid of Strowman that he didn't want to fight him.
I want to see him do it that way next time.
Yeah, let's just mix it up.
And then
It
when
is a
they-
mixed match.
Exactly.
When the two guys got in the ring, Zane jumped out and run around the ring.
What a coward.
Yeah, he was the biggest coward. And then he'd jump back up there and touch her, so she'd have to go back in. And so he didn't have to hardly wrestle at all. And the girls, they just around, usual stuff. And I didn't watch that too much. But, of course, Alexis and Strowman, or whatever his name is.
Rombones.
And then there was, I didn't recopy these, so if I make boo-boos, 205, Alexander, and is it DJP?
A TJP.
T. I'll just call him T. But anyway, I guessed right off the bat that Alexander was going to win that because they got plans for him. Right?
I've been hearing you say that for months.
They have.
Okay.
And okay, there were neck holds and ankle around Alexander's neck and tips him over and few new moves, arm stretches on JP, kick on
You were going to
Alex.
call him T, but then you just decided to call him JP.
That's what I've got written down here.
Okay.
Kick on the face and drop kick and arm twist and leg back on Alexander.
All right.
And let's see, lots of 2 counts.
The old leg back.
Lion salt on deep
Wow.
elbow jab, and a knee in the back, and he had worked on his sore knee. And Alexander, I knew would win that one. I gave that an 8, though. It was pretty good.
Wow.
8.
Hey, I've heard
Goodness.
that these 205 Live matches are a lot better. They built up so much bad will, I haven't watched it again, but I will soon.
I'm just trying to think. One of them, they had so many different, better moves. I think that was the one where, they must have listened to me because they had a whole bunch of new moves, good ones.
I wouldn't be surprised, Granny.
Yeah, I didn't know what to call them even. They were, really good, though, on that one. And then there was NXT with Dream and Bates. And that was another one. Oh, boy, I can't hardly read this. Backdoor by Bates. Elbow drop on Bates. Body blow on Bates while down. Chin lock on Bates. Bates was getting the punches by Bates. Duplex by Bates. 2 count. Bates slammed on the mat. Uppercut by Bates. Another 2 count. European uppercut by Dream. Jump off the rope onto Bates and wins that match.
Pretty accurate.
Yeah.
What'd you give it?
I give that a 6.
Oh, wow.
Okay, then let's see. Then we had the girls. Sane and Baszler. Baszler, she just took over and just beat the heck out of...
I can't believe you got Baszler right, by the way.
She did.
Yes. Well done.
Sane and Baszler.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Baszler, as usual, took over and she just beat the heck out. I don't really like her very well.
She's pretty mean.
Yeah, she's doing her job, that means, Granny.
She got Sane caught in the rope by her neck, and she was just being really mean to her. And of course, that Baylor wins that one. And does it have any more?
Got it right once.
Mm-hmm. That's all you need.
I guess so.
We knew what you meant.
Okay, that was it.
All right.
What do you give that match, Granny?
Okay, I'll give that a 5.
5.
Okay, now here's the big one. Okay, this is Bryan versus the Guilt Trip.
Okay.
Are you ready, Bryan?
I'm ready every week.
Okay. Bryan got in the ring, went way over in the corner. Guilt Trip came in, started a promo, and he said he didn't know why Bryan didn't like him. Before he could continue, the ref came in, blew the whistle or rang the bell, whatever they do to start the match. They stood in the middle of the ring, looking at each other. Bryan pushed Guilt Trip in the corner and slapped Guilt Trip's chest like he did to the other wrestlers that he wrestled.
It's right. Chopping him.
Guilt Trip looked like he was hurt. So Bryan stepped back, starting to feel guilty. Guilt Trip jumped up and kicked Bryan on the chin. Bryan did all the easy moves, like twisting arms and neck hold and just a little
That's accurate.
things, so he wouldn't feel guilty. But Guilt Trip just did the opposite. He gave him the Boston Crab like Lance Storm is popular for, and a figure 4 leg lock, and all of a sudden Bryan snapped.
I'm done with this guilt.
He picked Guilt Trip up, put him over his shoulder, spun him around many times, then dropped him on his head.
Wow.
Went up to the top rope, did a lion salt, and
Don't
landed,
get these moves wrong.
and landed on Guilt Trip. Then started kicking and beating the heck out of him. And the ref tried to stop him, so Bryan gave the ref a bump.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like a heel turn.
I guess so.
Guilt Trip lay there so quiet. Bryan just got out of the ring. Didn't look back so he doesn't know if he finished Guilt Trip off or if Guilt Trip will be back.
So you booked a match with Bryan with no finish.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's still open for the Guilt Trip.
It's open for a rematch.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Well, we've had that match many times, Granny. I'm sure that feud will continue.
Okay.
An excellent tale.
That was
By
fantastic.
the way, I gave that 11 because
Ooh, not as good as last week.
No.
nobody beats anything that I'm in.
Wow.
Good to know. I will set my sights on no more than an 11 next week then.
I
You
can
what?
only imagine who Vinny's opponent is going to be next week.
I'm
Well-
honestly terrified.
Do you guys want me to keep doing that?
Yes,
well, you
actually.
got to do Vinny's.
Okay. I've got 3 or 4 people that I'm thinking about.
Oh man, it's fascinating. All right, well, we'll eagerly await Vinny's opponent next week.
Okay.
His big WrestleMania moment.
Okay.
All right, anything else, Granny?
Nope.
You're gonna be good to go for Sunday.
I think I will, because I'm doing really good now. I've been doing really good.
All right, well, take a nap.
Nap.
All night.
I only slept about 4 hours. That's why I slept all day today.
I see. All right, well, sleep better tonight, and then we'll be ready to see you on Sunday.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
All righty. All right, anything else?
Nope.
All right, Granny. Good
Okay.
work.
All righty.
All right, see you Sunday.
Bye-bye.
Adios. What we should have done is a Facebook contest where instead of doing Granny's match with Vinny next week, we would have had a contest to figure out who Vinny's opponent is going to be. There's so many options. Who do you think it's going to be? Bryan versus Guilt Trip was perfect.
I don't see. Yeah, I don't. And Granny had the flu, which made the
Yeah.
evil flu a natural transition there. I don't even want to guess what she thinks my greatest enemy in life is.
So excited
This.
for next week's show.
You have a couch over here.
I'm giddy.
I may need this.
Oh my God,
I may
giddy.
need to lay down.
Hey, we all, Vinny, must face our fear in Granny's tales. I did it.
That was profound.
Granny did
That's
it.
on a fortune cookie.
Now it's
We
your
all must
turn.
face our fears in Granny's tales.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
NXT, February 28th, 2018. Show opened with an amazing recap video of last week's Almas Gargano match. I need a copy of the music they were playing right before Ciampa hit the ring. The glorious music, the fanfare, the trumpets that were playing when it looked like Gargano was going to win. That was awesome.
And then the heart-wrenching music after he lost.
Yeah.
Man, oh man, that should be someone's ring music.
The sad
Like
music?
some just miserable person. That should be their music.
Maybe that'll be mine next week.
Maybe it will. I should play that during the song.
Get it ready.
Oh man, I gotta find it. It's got to be in the public domain.
Velveteen Dream versus Tyler Bate. Sounded like something of a styles clash, but fortunately both guys are awesome. They meshed totally well together.
Well, I will say that very early they did some chain wrestling, and Dream was doing his best to just hold on.
Yes.
This man was not brought up doing European-style wrestling.
Nor is he an amateur wrestler in the U.S.
No, he's trying to be in the right spot. Velveteen Dream as a character is completely ready for the main roster.
Sure.
His character, his whole act. His wrestling, not quite there yet. But he
Well-
will be. He's getting there. He's getting there.
It looked like the kind of match where it was obviously the first time they worked on TV, but they have either practiced this 100 times or they've been working on house shows. 'Cause
Sure.
They had no problems. It looked like so.
Well, yeah, but I mean, when you're on the main roster, sometimes you just have a match with somebody you've never worked with.
Yeah.
You don't train with them at the performance center. You just go in there and you got to do your best.
Yes.
So he needs a little work. That's all I'm saying.
So they had a lot of TV time, or a lot of time for a TV match, 10 minutes or more. Neither guy had a problem with that. And the finish, they were brawling on the top rope when Bate got crushed and fell to the mat, and Dream hit the Purple Rainmaker for the win. And if every match I saw was this good, I would never complain ever again.
I got two things to say. I don't know if it is because Velveteen is a lot bigger than the small men that Tyler usually wrestles, but his airplane spin was a lot slower.
Well, that's probably part of it, yeah.
I don't know if it was that or if they've said, you got to slow that thing down, buddy. Because when you're on the main roster, there's going to be a fucking guy with a camera, and he's going to zoom in and out every time you spin around. So slow down.
We're here discussing a perfectly fine NXT show, and you have to bring up main roster camera work to get piss me off.
Well, dude, did you see the...
I saw the clip.
Okay.
34 seconds, 32 camera cuts.
Yeah.
And I
fuck
counted
that.
I counted along. I also counted 32.
Oh, my God. The other thing, boy, do I feel like an idiot.
Stop right there.
Velveteen,
That's all I need to know.
Velveteen Dream. All this time, there's, Teen Dream. They've turned it into Velveteen Dream. Right?
Teen Dream?
Yeah. It's a, don't worry about it, Vinny. Point of this is, I was like, he's named after cheese.
I beg your pardon?
All this time, I thought he was...
Explain yourself. Because I'm going to type in Velveteen Dream cheese.
No,
Yours going
no.
to come up nothing.
Exactly, because it's a Velveteen Rabbit.
What the hell are you talking about?
Type in Velveteen. Jackass, tell me what comes up. Fucking Velveteen Rabbit.
Sure will.
I confused Velveeta. I couldn't figure out why. No.
So wait. Hang on. Wait, stop. No. So you for the past 6 months.
Don't look at me.
You thought he was being the Velveeta Dream. Is that what I am being led to believe?
Yeah. That is. Get out of here, Vinny. I'm writing the fucking story next week.
Think they were gonna dip broccoli in him? What?
I don't know. The fuck does Velveteen Dream have to do with a rabbit? I'm a mess. Look what you've done to me, you idiot.
I did to you.
It's your fault.
No.
It's your face.
I knew what Velveteen is.
Oh, God.
It's not cheese.
Yeah, well, fuck off. I was confused.
That's clear. And for a while there, so was I. And I think I liked it better that way.
Well, hey, the more you know.
Yes, Brian. The more you know. Velveteen's not cheese.
Well, I was thinking about it because I was like, how are they going to get around this trademark?
So... What?
Do I look like I eat a lot of processed cheese?
What about this man? Or
I don't know. That's why I was
Music.
fucking confused.
So you have been confused
That's why I was baffled.
about why they were calling him Velveeta Dream for 6 months.
Well, I didn't think they were calling it. I thought they were calling it Velveteen Dream. Obviously, you jackass. But I thought the cheese was Velveteen. Turns out it's Velveeta. I ain't a cheese eater.
Okay. Well, we've all learned something today.
We have all learned something. I have.
As have I. Paul Ellering did a promo about the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
My tears are hot. I don't know what that means. They're fucking hot. My eyes are burning. Oh, it's because I use that dental floss. And then I put my fingers in my eyes.
Why is your dental floss hot?
No, it's like that mint. You know, the minty?
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tony
Right.
knows. God, now my eyes, they're burning. This show's off the rails. Just keep going. War is our peace.
Somehow it's more convincing when they say it.
I was just beset by apoplexy. What did Vince say the other day?
He became a quivering mass of apoplexy.
That's right. That is what happened to me right there.
Actually, it is.
Just so you know.
Paul Ellering did a promo with the Authors of Pain, hyping up the Dusty Rhodes Classic. They're going to win again, and they get the tag titles from Undisputed Era. This was awesome.
I can't look at you sometimes, Vinny. That's what sent me into that rage of apoplexy right there. I wouldn't have laughed so hard if I hadn't seen you. So it's better when I had a computer right here.
I was going to say you can move the monitor over again.
No. Go ahead. I got to move on.
William Regal, Drake Younger, and Johnny Gargano signed the papers terminating Johnny's NXT contract. Didn't Drake Younger have another name at one point?
I thought he did, but Johnny said, thanks, Drake.
Yeah. Drake apologized, Said he had made a mistake refereeing the match, and that mistake had cost Johnny his NXT career. He apologized, said he was sorry, and offered a handshake. And Johnny, the ultimate babyface, he accepted the handshake and accepted the apology. And he signed his papers. They did make it clear he would honor his pre-existing commitments.
Morrow then wished him well in his future endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it.
Yeah, they were all so sad, everyone involved.
Regal was so morose.
Cesar Bononi versus Adam Cole. So Cole cuts a promo. He says Cesar was NXT's future superstar of the year. They tried to recruit him in the Undisputed Era. They tossed him a t-shirt. He appeared to be thinking about it when Cole jumped in from behind, then high-fived his buddies. And it didn't matter because Bononi reversed it and went on offense and kicked everyone's ass for a while. Well, for a second.
You know, for some reason during this match, Morrow randomly reminded us that he said something like his Brazilian brethren or something. Tainara Conti.
They brought her up.
He said, remember what happened when she was offered a spot in Undisputed? And I was like,
no.
Why did you bring that up? Like, she showed up one day and we never saw her again.
Yeah.
You reminded me of that.
Yeah.
That was weird.
So this whole thing went like a minute, and Fish and O'Reilly distracted Bononi, and Cole hit a super kick and a Shining Wizard to the back of the head for the win. And I thought, hey, Adam Cole won a match. And I did some research. Do you know the last time Adam Cole won a singles match on NXT TV?
Never.
It was his very first match on NXT TV. He beat Eric Young.
Wow.
He was not. That was in September.
They could do better with this guy.
They could do better. Kairi Sane, Shayna Baszler video package. It was awesome. Street Profits video where they pretended to be fans and predicted that they would win the Dusty Rhodes Classic.
Yeah, it was wacky.
Yeah. Then we had the main event, Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler. I did not watch.
Give this a 6?
Yeah,
I thought it was about a 6.
it was good.
Yeah.
I did not watch the Mae Young Classic, but I think this is the best Shayna's looked. Thought she looked totally composed here. Whereas I remember the Takeover match, she had great intensity for about a minute, and then seemed to be going through the motions. Here, she seemed to be in it the whole way.
She was very, very good here.
Yeah.
She has a couple of things that don't look great.
Yeah.
Like, there were a couple of elbows to the spine that didn't look good, but her kicks were awesome. Her knees were good.
Dude.
And astonishingly, the stiffest looking thing in the entire match was actually Kairi giving her a back fist to the face.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So my favorite thing about this is that these were not two generic cookie cutter wrestlers taking turns doing the same stuff. Shayna was an MMA fighter who mostly did kicks and knees, and Kairi was a tiny little high flyer who was either bouncing off the ropes or flying through the air. It was a contrast of styles, which is good. There's also a spot early on where Shayna did a gut wrench suplex, and she did it at such a high angle that Kairi actually landed like sitting on her ass. And I don't know, honestly, if they did that on purpose or not, but if they did, it's genius, because it played in perfect with the finish, which was Kairi went up top, but Shayna grabbed her for a vertical suplex, dropped her on her ass again, and this time transitioned right into a rear naked choke for the win. That was awesome.
I mentioned this a little bit on Observer Live today, but now I've actually seen the show, so I will talk about it here as well. WWE needs to figure out what they're going to do with these MMA submissions. Because Shayna puts Kairi in a rear naked choke. That's a real move. Mm-hmm. Tapped out like that.
Yeah.
She didn't hang on. She didn't fight for the ropes. She tapped. That's what you would do in a real fight. However, Ember Moon gets caught in a goddamn straight extended armbar.
Yeah.
And she's fighting for 3 minutes. Okay? This is ridiculous. I know they taped her arm up for the next show, but listen, if you get caught in a straight armbar for 3 minutes, like, your arm's somewhere else. It's in Brazil.
Yeah.
So, here's my idea. I have a solution to this problem. Because you want it to be real, but clearly you also want it to be a little bit fake because you're trying to build drama.
Sure.
Do you remember when Kurt Angle used the ankle lock?
Many times.
He would do that standing ankle lock, and the guys would fight, and they would go for the ropes, blah, blah, blah. They'd roll out or whatever. But every time he scissored the leg, it's over.
Yes.
Nobody ever got out of that. The moment he scissored the leg, they tapped immediately. So you can do that with, like, the straight arm bar. Just never let them extend their arm. They can fight all day like this.
Sure.
They can fight all day like this. But as soon as that arm goes straight, it's over. You can still build a lot of drama with a person who someone's trying to whack or whatever to get their arms opened up. You can build tons of drama. They can fight to the ropes. They can do all that. But you cannot have someone laying there in a straight arm bar for like 3 minutes fighting out of it. It's stupid.
Yeah. If anything, considering these two holds, not only is it inconsistent, it's outright backwards. Because I have seen people try to fight out of a rear naked choke.
Sure.
And they pass out.
But you know what? You can do the same thing. Let the person get their hands inside. They can fight all day like that, but if their fingers come out, it's over.
Sure. Yes, we're still in kind of a, I don't know, an awkward phase where.
But my point is, I like what they did here.
Okay.
She put her in the move, and she tapped immediately.
Yes.
That was good.
Andrade Almas and Zelina Vega came out for a promo.
Shayna, by the way, challenged Ember.
Oh, yeah,
she was
yeah.
afraid.
Yeah, she said Ember's a coward, and when she gets in the ring with me, I'm leaving with her title or leaving with her limb. And the best thing about this is she didn't like grab a mic or go up on stage. She just shouted at the announcers. We could hear it because they have mics. But this whole thing, start to finish, was just a classic old school pro wrestling segment. It was awesome. So yes, Andrade Almas and Zelina Vega came out for a promo. Zelina bragged about Andrade going 4-0 against Johnny Gargano. Got the fans to chant clean sweep.
What in the world? Why were they doing that?
Fans like to chant things and they like a winner.
Yeah, but they love Johnny Gargano. She's making fun of Gargano for losing 4 straight times and being forced to retire. And they chant clean sweep. I was baffled.
I don't know what to say. So she says Gargano had earned respect, but Andrade had earned money and fame and power. I would have been happy if she just stopped at money. That would have made sense to me. She said she did not feed off her man's success. She created it. That's why Andrade was still champion. And then it was Andrade's turn to talk, and his English still needs work. I caught about half of what he said.
He said Johnny Wrestling is now Johnny Jobless.
See, I didn't have any idea what he said there.
Yep. And he paraded around the ring declaring himself to be the champion.
It didn't help. He was trying to say Johnny lost again and again, but it came out a gone and a gone. And it took me about 5 agons to figure out what he meant.
Well, I have a 2-year-old that's learning how to talk, so I figured all of this out.
That's fair. He did at the end proclaim himself to be the NXT champion.
Sure.
Yeah. So they're about to leave. In fact, they made it up to the stage when Aleister Black interrupted. Now, we have made many comments about how much generic music there is in NXT. Aleister Black's is the exception. That song is awesome. Is
Killian Dane.
That's true. Killian Dane's also. I love how everyone's Sanity has their own personal version of the same song. That's actually really cool. So, yeah, but Aleister comes out, does his whole entrance, but before he can speak, Killian Dane's music interrupts. And they had a stare down. Dane says, "You're in my path." They started brawling. Andrade's up on stage, and it was actually really funny. Zelina was laughing at this because these two idiots are fighting themselves instead of each other. Let's just go. And Andrade follows her to the back, but he's eyeing the ring the whole time, concerned, at the end of the day, I'm going to have to fight one of these men, and that sucks. But they go to the back. Dane won the brawl. The show ended with him standing over Aleister's prone body. And there you go. There's a takeover match now. We got Killian Dane and Aleister Black, and that sounds awesome. And at some point, we'll find
or they're doing that before, and the winner is going to get...
I was going to say, they do have plenty of time.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going to do.
They could do that, too. Regardless, this is a very good pro wrestling show.
Dude, I love Aleister Black, but man, Killian Dane is so awesome. He just ran this guy over. He's great. I love Killian Dane. I still haven't got my match that I want, but we'll talk about that later.
What was the match you wanted?
It's Killian Dane and the big guy.
Which one?
The big acromegaly guy.
Oh, Lars.
Lars Sullivan.
Yes.
How did I forget his name? Because he hasn't been on TV for 4 weeks, 4 months.
He's not been on a long time.
Yeah.
So that was NXT. And then we did, in fact, watch the main event from WCW WrestleWar 1992. It was May 7th.
By popular request.
May 17th, 1992. We just watched the War Games match, hailed by some as the greatest War Games of all time.
Well, it probably was.
It's way up there.
I mean, if you look at the ones after this.
They went off a cliff.
They sure did.
This is better than most, yeah. So it was Sting's Squadron, which was Sting, Nikita Koloff, Barry Windham, Dustin Rhodes, and Ricky Steamboat, against the Dangerous Alliance, which was Rick Rude, Steve Austin, Larry Zbyszko, Arn Anderson, and Bobby Eaton.
And Paulie and Medusa.
Paulie and Medusa were out there. Announcers were Jim Ross and Jesse Ventura. A great team. Great team. So, it's supposed to be like a real sporting event. So Paulie, like any good coach, has a game plan, and he's ready for anything. He pulls out this flow chart and unfolds it and unfolds it and unfolds it. The flow chart was bigger than any man on his team. It's this massive sheet ready for any possible pairing or grouping of wrestlers from either team. He is prepared for everything. So he sends in Steve Austin to start. And Steve Austin and Barry Windham, they're beating the hell out of each other.
Dude, the first 1 minute of this match was better than anything in Elimination Chamber. Barry Windham and Steve Austin just throwing hands at each other.
Yes.
God, it was awesome. It was the most believable pro wrestling style brawl you ever saw. Just two hosses pounding on each other.
Everything in this match for all, 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is, everything was believable. Some was more believable than others, but for what they did, it all came off as believable.
Really, there was no one who was not believable.
No.
Maybe, I guess, Larry a little bit.
No, I believed it. I mean, there was stuff you would not, I don't think in any real fight a guy would grab a cage and do a Frankensteiner, but if he did, it would have looked as believable as these guys did.
I don't think in any real fight a guy would get his head stuck between two rings and then someone else would jackhammer him.
It happened a few times.
That was so fucking ridiculous, but I loved it.
Yes.
Because it's pro wrestling.
So you recall last year, or the last year's War Games, like 5 times someone tried to jump from one ring to the other and nearly broke his neck. The very first thing they did here was Austin clotheslining Windham from one ring into the other. He pulled it off perfectly. Because, breaking news, Steve Austin's really good.
Well, there was more to it, Vinny. There was something about this that was different from last year. There was a bigger gap in between the two rings. So, last year, the rings were close enough together that when you threw a guy over the top rope, he had to get over both top ropes to get into the other ring. Mm-hmm. This year, they were farther apart, so when you got thrown over the top, you went in between the rings.
Some did.
And then you could go... Well, Ricky actually got over both.
Well, on this clothesline, Windham, when it started, was between the rings. Austin did have to dive from ring A to ring B.
Windham was in between? Oh, Austin did a flying clothesline.
Yes.
I see.
Yes.
There weren't a lot of those.
There were a lot of those. I think they all pulled him off this year, I think. So, Windham beat his ass for 5 minutes. Austin's a bloody mess before anyone else is even in the cage. And then, with 4 minutes gone, they go to the 1 minute timer on the screen, which was accurate down to the 10th of a second.
Yes.
That made me laugh. So, spoiler alert, the heels won the coin toss. Rick Rude hit the ring, which was big news, because Rick Rude was their main event guy. He was the top guy in the Dangerous Alliance. And
you know what? This sounds gruesome, but this was 1992. This was 26 years ago.
Mm-hmm. A quarter century.
I was going to say 25, Vinny, but 26, close enough. Anyway, only one guy is dead.
Yeah. For pro wrestling, that's amazing.
You know how astonishing that is? A match from 1992 involving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people. If you include the Medusa, Paulie, anybody else? I guess that'd be 12.
That'd be 12.
Yeah, sure. But anyway,
you go 14 with the announcers.
Exactly. One guy passed away.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a very good ratio for a 1992 match. So the next 2 minutes consisted mostly of Rick Rude beating up Windham and Austin bleeding on Windham. Steamboat is the second man in for Sting's team. Just makes a great comeback. DDTs everyone and fires up and the building's going crazy. Then Arn is the next man in, and DDTs and spinebusters just rain down from the sky. And he and Rude put Steamboat in a double Boston Crab. He each grab a leg and just crank back in the guy for like a minute. Because that's what you do. You're trying to hurt him. You're not trying to show off. You're not trying to steal the show or get a moment. You're trying to fucking hurt your opponent and break his damn back so he can't fight anymore. Dustin is in next for the Sting's team. 26 years later, he's still working.
Yeah.
He looked awesome here.
I was there at a house show where he was wrestling live, and I was like, this guy is one of the better workers on this show.
Oh, sure. I'm sure he
was.
He
had an absolute nothing match, but,
yeah.
I mean, man, he's incredible.
Yeah.
Of course, he had all the paint on.
He did.
You mentioned his, his bleeding, or you're going to mention, because he gigs.
How I'm going to.
Okay, he's gigging, he's just bleeding all over the place. Like, every now and then there'll be a segment on Raw where Goldust doesn't have his paint on.
Mm-hmm. A lot of gigging.
Oh, man.
As much as his dad?
Man, it's hard to say. He does not... He looks 50 years older with the paint off.
Yeah, sure he does. who looked great here. The highlight of his comeback when he hit the ring was he goes to hit Austin with an atomic drop, a reverse atomic drop. And this had to be the lowest cage in War Games history, the lowest roof. And Goldust hoists Austin up for the atomic drop, and Austin's head hits the cage. Then he drops Austin's ass across his knee, and Austin lands and sells his head and his knee at the same time.
Yeah.
Because Steve Austin's great.
He said, again, by the way, Goldust picked up Stone Cold Steve Austin and press slammed him into the cage.
No, this is an atomic drop.
I see.
The press slam was later. It was Sting.
Yes.
So here was where Arn got his head stuck between the rings.
Yeah.
I don't think they planned this because Barry didn't know what to do, so he just kind of grabbed his feet and shook.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. So Larry's in next for the heels. Dustin is there to greet him. He just whips his ass. Just huge ovation from the crowd. At this point, Medusa climbs the cage.
Oh, my God. She was in heels on the outside.
Yes.
So she took her shoes off.
Climbed the cage barefoot.
Climbed this fucking cage. My dad's a fence builder.
Yes.
Okay? This fucking chain link, climbing that in your bare fucking feet.
Yeah, not good news.
And then walking around on top of the cage.
And then walking around on it.
And then climbing down in your bare feet.
Yeah.
I'm surprised she has toes right now.
You're not wrong.
That was nutty.
So she gets up there. She drops the phone into the cage. And for those of you who were not watching pro wrestling in 1992 or not even alive in 1992, Paul E's gimmick, Paul E. Dangerously, now Paul Heyman, his gimmick was that he carried a mobile telephone, a cellular telephone.
It was barely mobile.
It was bigger than Medusa. This huge, giant brick of electronics. So she drops the phone in the cage so her men can use it. But then Sting climbs up there to scare her down. And this is what the camera focused on most. Nothing happened up there. Sting climbed up. She climbed down. Sting climbed down. This cage did not look like it was built for people to climb on.
No, it really wasn't.
Not. Yeah, I got a little queasy watching that.
Did anyone use the phone?
They must have.
We just didn't see it.
Because the baby faces were winning before the phone was in there.
I see.
And they cut back, and now the heels were winning.
We were busy watching Sting and Medusa on top of a cage.
Yes, watching Medusa's toes fall off. So, yeah, Sting was the next man in fact. He gets in there, throws everyone around. He's the one who press slammed Rick up into the top of the cage. Rick Rude up in the top of the cage. Rude also got his head stuck between the rings. And this time they had more of a plan. So his head stuck between the rings. But Steamboat and one of the other guys, they each grab a foot and try to pull his groin apart. Making a wish, as Jim Ross says.
Yeah.
So that made more sense than just whatever Barry was doing.
Austin got backdropped into the side of the cage.
Oh,
Arn's bleeding. They're still sequestering everybody into one ring, largely, because it looks way more chaotic than spreading them out between two rings.
So, Eaton's the last man in for the Dangerous Alliance. At this point, I noticed Dustin Rhodes. I don't know if anyone's actually lost their head gigging, but this is the closest I've ever seen.
Well, Vinny, I can tell you that nobody has ever lost their head.
I'm happy to hear that.
Gigging. Yeah.
Thank you for playing along with the joke.
So Bobby Eaton here was hurt. That's why they held him off until last.
All right.
And that's also why they did the finish they did. Because
Okay.
he was going to be gone for a while.
So the finish was the heels spent a long time loosening one of the turnbuckles.
Yes, Larry and Rick. Well, Larry goes over. Larry starts trying to undo the turnbuckle. Then he realizes, where's the strong guy? Calls over Rick Rude.
Rick Rude was a strong man.
Rick Rude's struggling to get this thing.
For those of you who've never put a ring together or tear it down, there's tools you can use that make that much easier.
Yeah.
They were using their bare hands.
Oh, yeah, Rick Rude's just going...
And, Rude, they always said, he was an arm wrestler, his, what they say, tendon strength was unbelievable. So, yeah.
So he gets it loose, and then Bobby starts to try to put it back together.
Yes.
And the announcers are like...
Jesse's
saying, why is he putting the ring back together?
trying to repair the ring, Jim.
And honest to God, I think he was.
That's not impossible.
I mean, he wasn't like picking it up to use it. He's just like screwing it back in. Like, I'm going to put this thing back together again.
Well, it made sense by the end because
I guess.
I think it fell apart more than they wanted to.
Sure.
Because by the end, when everything was screwed back together, so he unscrews it, it falls apart, the top rope falls down, but the metal bit jabbing out of the turnbuckle is like this big. You can't hit anyone with that. It's
The actual turnbuckle.
Yeah. So when they put the I don't know what all the terminology is, but we put the turnbuckle back together, now it's a metal rod that long. You can swing this as a weapon.
Yes.
So they get it all done. Actually, before we even get to that, Nikita's the last man in for Sting's team. And apparently there had been tension between Sting and Nikita. Nikita did his heel turn on this show last year.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently this was the nail in the coffin for his babyface turn. he hit a couple bad guys, but then he stared down with Sting, and they appeared to be there was tension. But then the heels charged. Nikita shoved Sting aside to take the bullet.
Yeah.
And now Sting knew he could trust Nikita, and they fired up, made a comeback, and when they high-fived and hugged.
Oh my God.
The cheers for this friendship.
Yeah. Friends.
Friends.
People want to see friends in wrestling.
They do.
What a lesson.
So everyone brawled for a while, and somewhere in here, Barry grabs Larry by the head, and Dustin Rhodes boots him in the face.
Oh, my
And
God.
watched a few times. This was either the greatest worked kick of all time, or he punted Larry into next week.
Well, the thing was, Larry was not a stationary target because, like, his head was being moved forward, and then Barry does the kick.
Yeah.
So, like, it was two things coming together like this.
And that's exactly what happened.
So either...
And then it went like that.
Yep, either Barry had, like, perfect timing, or, man, did Larry get booted in next week.
So it's at this point, it's submission or surrender to win. So everyone's trying submission holds. Figure fours, scorpions, Boston crabs, whatever you can do to try and get somebody to quit. And the Eaton and Larry isolate Sting with the turnbuckle. And Larry swings it like a baseball bat, but Sting dodges. Eaton gets whacked in the arm, and Sting wipes out Larry. He puts Bobby Eaton in an arm bar.
That's right. Shoulder lock.
A shoulder lock, just because it's a very basic wrestling hold, but he's just suffered a major arm injury, so it won't take much. And Eaton immediately submits, and Sting's team wins.
Yep. You know what I loved about this finish? Somebody had to do the job.
Mm-hmm.
It was Bobby Eaton. But Larry took all the heat.
Yes.
Larry didn't have to do the job, but he took the heat. Bobby Eaton had to do the job, but they put the heat on Larry.
Yeah.
How clever.
Yes. So everyone in the alliance blamed Larry. It looked a few times like they would all come to blows. At one point, he actually went after Paul Lee, and Rude had to step in between them. And Larry immediately backed down, you noted.
Yeah.
That was a smart move. So yeah, that was that. Like I say, I'm not sure it's the best War Games of all time, but it's awfully fucking good.
This was probably the best War Games of all time. And then afterwards, it's the wrap-up. And they go back to the announcers, a young Tony Schiavone and a young Eric Bischoff.
Yes.
And they're sitting next to each other.
Having the time of their lives.
They're wrapping up the show. And then Tony turns to Eric and says, Eric, it was great working with you.
It's always fun working with you.
It's like, wow.
Words.
Wow.
Some things change.
God, this was incredible.
Yes.
So yeah, check it out. WrestleWar.
Yeah, you should check it out.
Yep, WrestleWar 1992 on the WWE Network, the War Games match. Dave gave it 5 stars.
Yeah.
So there you go. Although he gave a lot of War Games 5 stars, if I recall correctly. But this was another one, so check it out. All right, everybody, we're going to wrap it up. Don't forget, video.f4wonline.com if you want a video version of tonight's show. You can always head to f4wonline.com/shirts for your merch. Of course, WrestleMania is coming. You want to stock up on your f4wonline.com merchandise, especially if you're going to the meet and greets and the Q&A and such. So, f4wonline.com/shirts. And that is it. We'll be back on Sunday, NWA and more. And then I guess the week after is the Fastlane pay-per-view. You can look forward to that. It'll be me, Vinny, and Filthy, I believe, for that show. And that is it, everybody. We'll talk to you again after a while.
Adios.